Divine Mercy is our Super Bowl, so I am pumped. I have to admit, 3 days ago, I watched the news. There was a man that was running, literally ran from California across the country to Florida to raise awareness for those who are struggling with diabetic. When I saw that, I told Jesus, Lord, what about me running from the south in Texas all the way up to the border of Canada to raise awareness for Divine Mercy Sunday? But the Lord told me the truth is, not even halfway through Dallas, you would be dead. So just preach on my mercy and hear as many confessions as you can. Indeed, the Lord told Saint Faustina, which in the Jubilee year of 2000, through Pope John Paul II, became a reality. I desire a feast of mercy to be a refuge and shelter for all souls, especially for poor sinners. And he mentioned further that I desire that it be solemnly celebrated on the first Sunday after Easter. The Lord said, on that day, the very depths of my tender mercy are open. I pour out the whole ocean of graces upon those souls who approach my fount of mercy. And that we saw in his encounter with the disciples in that room when he appeared to them after his death. Notice the evangelist told us that the disciples that they locked himself out in that room out of fear. And it is there in that locked room that Jesus came to them. Enter with me a little bit into that locked room. I remember that when our group of 40, after we finally arrived to Thailand, escaping Vietnam on a boat. When we got to the island, the pirates stopped us, took everything that we have, so that by the time we get to the village in Thailand, we had nothing left. And every day, we went out to the village begging for food. For some reason, I was always the best beggar. I always come back luckier than the rest of my cousins, and my brother always bring home some food or some money. So, and I felt very proud of the fact that I was the man, I was the bread winner and provider for my group. Until that day, that evening, dinner time as usual, I went to that house, I knocked on the door opened, and were about 5 guys with sticks and brooms. They screamed at me, they ran up to me, trying to beat me up, and I ran in terror. And I remember when I was finally able to run away, I made an interior vow that for the rest of my life, I was going to be independent and never again ask for help. I shut the door of my heart. And also, I remember as well, as a 12 years old boy in his tender age, asked, how could the good Father, the good Lord and God, allow something like that to happen to a young child? And for the next many years, that shut door affected how I related with other people and how I related with God. I think every one of us may have an experience in life where we somehow shut the door and doubt began to sneak in about a good God who would take care of us. We close that door out of fear. We lock down. We notice today that in the gospel reading, shut door cannot lock Jesus out. Because he come in search for us, he pursue us. And when he comes through that locked door in his first encounter with the disciples, his very first word, peace be with you. And his very first act, he showed them his wounds. And by showing his wound, he's actually is resurfacing. He's reopening the wounds, because all of a sudden, looking at that, it reminds them of their fears, their cowardice, their wounds on Good Friday. To open it up. Except for this time, when it is opened up, Jesus breathed on them. And when the shut door get to an even deeper level, when Thomas, who won with them, come back and said, no way. Unless I see him, unless I have scientific, empirical data to show me that he is real, I won't believe. It's the distrust, disbelief. And when the Lord comes, Thomas, come, put your finger through my side and know that I am. Something interiorly happened. A transformation. The grace that touched his wounds, where he made the most important proclamation in the Gospel of John when he said, my Lord and my God, and he submitted himself. Such, my dear brothers and sisters, is divine mercy. Divine mercy is not permissiveness. You can do whatever you want and I'm okay with it. No, it is the love, the forgiveness, and the grace that interiorly change, transform us, and make us anew. So that the 12-year-old boys will not live in the resentment of hatred and shut his heart, but rather it become a source of motivation so that he will defend the needed. He will offer as much confession as he could. And he would always be sympathetic with those who are suffering. Such, brothers and sisters, is the grace of divine mercy. Stop unbelieving, but believe. And Jesus told St. Faustina that how painfully distrust in my goodness wounds me. Sins of distrust wound me most painfully. Even when our doors is shut and darkness takes over and logic makes no sense, do not stop believing that God's love is greater than hatred, and His merciful healing grace is significantly greater than our wounds.